welcome everyone to the very first edition of the AFL Europe Footy Show. Here with Kieran O'Hara, board member of AFL Europe, and myself, Ben McCormack, as the general manager. We've also had we've had guests throughout the evening as well, who you'll hear from later. Daniel McClare from, well, he's Australian, but he's basically Swedish, and he's in charge of one of the teams we'll talk about tonight. So the footy show that we're going to launch tonight is basically we want to talk about the curtain raiser before the big match at the Oval, Care Oval, this Saturday. The curtain raiser will be between two teams which we've made up, the JLT All Stars curtain raiser. Will consist of the Islands team and the Continents team. So the Islands is made up of the United Kingdom, Ireland and Iceland. And the Continents is basically everyone else. So it should be a great tussle. It's the first time that this concept has been put in place in Europe, and certainly, the feedback from the boys involved is that they're very excited. We want to sort of give a special mention to JLT as the sponsors. They've been fantastic in making sure this event's going to happen. And certainly the AFL for their support in bringing the match back to London after 6 years, which allows our group of Europeans to show their wares and put their skills in front of the right people to hopefully one day a player will come out of this match, Kieran, for our straight into the AFL one day, which would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic, but I think one of the big things about this game is that in the past, when we've had the AFL exhibition in London, the warm-up tended to be Ireland versus GB. So it got hugged by two countries in a continent where at the time there was probably 12 or 14 countries participating in the sport. So what's great now about this is that I think when I looked at the list, I think we have 19 countries represented in the two teams. And what's really fantastic is that those guys are going to go back to their own leagues, and it's another positive impression. And also, while you'll have a number of the Irish guys have played on the MCG and the International Cup final, most guys are never going to have played in a stadium this good. So this is what I'm really looking forward to, is seeing guys like Pally Finnison and Will Houvion and all these guys that have just never had a chance really to bring all their talents to the greatest stage, to put it on a stage like the Kia Oval, which I've seen it on Sky Sports News today. It's been on all day. It's looking fantastic, and it's great to see that our guys are going to be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Having been at the ground today and for the AFL teams warming up, the feedback was fantastic around the surface, the facility, the setup, and it's a historic venue for a game that's maybe not familiar to a lot of the European countries, but cricket, it's a historic venue, and everyone should be really excited to get underway on the weekend. So hopefully the boys are excited. Can we run the graphic of the teams now, Kieran? Is that possible?
I think we'll start by having a look at what effectively I suppose is the home team, the Islands team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the graphic is up there at the moment, as you can see. There's a few guys that will be very familiar, but a coach who is coaching his first ever game of 18-a-side football. So there's a test there for Sean McElhone. He may be undefeated as a 9-a-side coach, but two wins in the Euro Cup, will it make for one good 18-a-side coach? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a tough team to pick. It wasn't easy. Both of these teams that you'll see on your graphics in the footy show here, it wasn't an easy process. We certainly consulted with a number of people to pick this. It's come from a number of events as well. We've obviously got the Easter series that we're identifying young and also developed talents that's been involved in the system. And then also from the talent that we saw on show only a couple of weeks ago up in Edinburgh at the Euro Cup. This wasn't an easy process, but we certainly feel like we've got two fantastic teams that are spread across basically the whole of Europe. So this is going to be a great tussle.
Yeah, and you've picked out a few guys that you in particular want to have a look at, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of players to watch, I think. The first one I want to speak about is Sean Walton. He's a bit of a jet. He's from the Midlands of England, if I'm not wrong.
That's Birmingham Bears. That's it. Yeah.
At Birmingham Bears, and he also comes down to London quite often to play with the Wandsworth Demons. This fellow, and I've only been here 18 months, but in 18 months I've seen his skill level progress so far that I'm just really impressed by his talent, his speed, his ability to take on instruction and learn and get better. This guy's so keen for the game of Aussie rules, and he's certainly one to watch. If he gets out in some of the open spaces of an oval, he finds space in nine-a-side footy. He's electric, and he'll be very exciting to watch.
Yeah, and he's a great utility player. We had him in Paris for the game against the AIS AFL Academy, and I'm pretty sure I would have asked him and another one of his compatriots, Liam Corbett, to occupy 5 or 6 positions on the field, because we had a lot of big guys, and what we didn't have was speed and fitness. And Sean has bundles of fitness.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. He's a great athlete, and certainly the next bloke I'd like to speak to is an athlete in spades. It's Big Tommy Svetko from Croatia. This boy can really go. He comes to all the events around Europe. He's a keen man. He's a great fella. He loves the dance floor as well, Tommy. And but this bloke can play serious footy. If he was born and bred in Australia, I wouldn't be surprised if he was playing state league football. The bloke's got that much natural talent. He can jump over the moon. He's a big body, and he can take a great pack mark as well. So he'll certainly cause the island some headaches throughout the weekend. That might Tommy there. He's just heard that, and he's texted me. Yes, yeah, thanks, Ben, he says.
The money's in the post.
Weekend, and yes, I'll take a couple of really good pack marks.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah, so our live and exclusive here, that's clear.
And Tommy's certainly someone I'm looking forward to working with next year with the Croatian team. Who's your third pick?
The third pick, and I've got to say probably my favourite. It's not just because of his name, but his name does have a little bit to do with it. It's Axel Bang, who has been fantastic. I've seen this young fella play in a lot of representative games, play for his club, his country, play for Europe. He continues to impress me. I first saw him out in Australia, actually, representing Denmark.
In the IC.
And his speed was electrifying there, and I came back. I actually spoke to you, Kieran, and said, "This kid's something." He still was learning the craft, and that's only 18 months ago now. But his improvement, having been exposed to Tig and Peter over a week-long period, this kid's special, and he showed that up in Edinburgh, player of the tournament.
By a distance, I would say as well. He was player of the tournament by a distance in Edinburgh.
Absolutely, and his involvement, his keenness to learn, and he's living and breathing footy at the moment. So he will be special, and look out for him for best on ground. I think on the weekend too. Axel Bang.
I think that's a very good call. I do have a soft spot for Axel. I also think one of the great things about him is his attitude. I remember when we were in Guildford over Easter, that we're there for a week. At times, as you know, in a group, people can begin to get in on top of each other. But the person who kept us all smiling at all times was generally Axel. Now, there was one other guy who generally brings a smile to our face. This is a guy who, when maybe we speculatively called up to the Legion last year, a French player. The French league had only just really started to get up and running. And we thought we'd take a look at a young kid, and that kid was Will Houvion. And he arrived kind of raw, and I think last year was a little quiet within the group.
Sure.
Was a little quiet on the field. But by the time we saw him in August at the International Cup, my God, what an improvement. He had improved as a player, he had improved as a leader, he was so extrovert. And we've seen that extrovertness grow, because when you see him on the field now, he's a playmaker. He absolutely wants the ball, he's got the confidence to use it, he's very fit. And off the field, still a terrific character. I mean, you and I both know he likes to put on a superhero cape, but generally doesn't have very much else on besides when he does that.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a character.
So Will would be one of my picks, I have to say. I think he's very impressive young player. I think it would be easy for me to pick a number of the Irish players, but you could accuse me of bias, and I think most people would accept that to be correct. So what I want to do is focus on some players that I've spent some time with over the years, and the other one that's really impressed me over the last 2 years on the Legion team, and he was our captain this year, is Sam Brunton from England. Was called up as a standby to the Legion last year. His leadership ability just stood out the second he arrived. He and David McAlone were clear leaders on that team. And what has been fantastic is to see him take it on. His football has improved. His leadership remains as it always was. And I think Sammy's going to have a massive game at the weekend. I think he loved the occasion. He loved the venue. And he's someone that's going to lead some of those players on for the Islands.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, mate. And who's the third pick for you?
The third is a guy I've played against him. I've had beers with him. I've marveled at how much energy he has and how much he can put himself about. And all I can say about this guy is that if we consider that he is double jobbing again this weekend, he's the assistant coach of the Islands team. He will be one of the star players on the Islands team. In 2010, he was by country miles the best footballer in the European Championship. He's been brilliant for Denmark when he played for them. He's been brilliant for France when he's played for them. The guy is a footy messiah, and he comes from Iceland. So I think when people put all that together, what you've got is an amazing package. And Padel Thomas Finnison is someone that I have always wanted to see play on a big ground in front of a big crowd, because his personality shows right through in his football. All the best aspects of him as a person. His tenacity, his hard work, his leadership, his ability to motivate those around him, and his ability also, I think, to lighten the mood when the need requires. So I think when people see Pally playing at the weekend, I think what you'll see is a very unselfish performance. But if you do take the time to single it out, what you'll see is a player that's bringing all those around him into the game.
Absolutely, mate. Couldn't agree more. He's a bit of a godfather of the game in Europe, and he's done it all. There's nothing he hasn't done except maybe play on the oval. So I'm very excited to see how he performs as well. And I totally agree. It's exciting, and I hope all the boys out there are pumped to play on the ground. I hope their families and friends come and support them, or make sure that they're following either on Twitter or Facebook, or checking our website for updates throughout the day.
Or of course listening to our live radio feed for the second time this year. So
yeah,
do check out AFLEurope.org and our Facebook page for more details on that. Well, I mean, before we finish out the show, I have spoken to Daniel McClare earlier on about the team that he's got, and certainly some recognisable names for us on that team. So let's hear from Daniel now.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. We lost about 5 or 6 key players to the team, but I'm sure that the players that have come up and stepped up for the continental team will do their job.
And what about the concept itself, like of a continental team? What do you think is going to be the hardest thing for you? Because I know you've been around footy a fair bit. You've worked on the last 2 European Legion teams. You'll know a lot of younger boys. But do you know all of the older players in the group?
Not so much. There's a few of the Italians and some of the French players I'm not too familiar with, and a couple of the Dutch boys. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a team meeting tomorrow night, and we'll.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. That's fantastic. Great to hear from you there, mates. And certainly can tell that you're excited about getting to London and coaching these boys in what's going to be an amazing event. We look forward to seeing you all there, and we hope you've enjoyed our very first ever AFL Europe Footy Show. And I'd like to thank Kieran O'Hara as the production, script writer, extraordinaire, internet man. So thanks very much, and hope to see you soon, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.